With hundreds of millions of dollars spent on artificial intelligence over many years, the results that we're seeing today are not as impressive as we expected. Does that mean AI is a scam? Let's get after it. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another video where we discuss openly and transparently the good, the bad, and the ugly side of artificial intelligence and indeed the digital world as a whole, because it's become such a big part of our lives that it's impacting our lives in a way that it's never been done before. Speaking of artificial intelligence, we're seeing more reports emerging about the general loss of confidence towards artificial intelligence because there's so many promises that have been made over the years, like certain car manufacturers offering driverless cars, and they're not really delivering. And even though there's some kind of a push towards bringing these cars on the road, which I kind of disagree with, and we can leave that for another debate. But ultimately, businesses are not realizing the value of artificial intelligence. They're not realizing the many millions of dollars worth of investment that they've pumped into AI projects over the years. And now they're basically complaining that it's not delivering what it was supposed to deliver. And rightly so in some cases. But does that really mean that artificial intelligence as a whole is just a big fad or a scam? Now, the answer to this question is, it depends. And I know it sounds like a cop-out, I'm sorry, but I promise you I will give you an answer by the end of this video. But it's very important to understand that artificial intelligence is an experimental field, not a thing or a product or an app or something you can just take off the shelf and plug it into something and kaboom, you've got artificial intelligence or some kind of intelligent sentient being, which, by the way, is not possible, as I discussed in the video up here, so make sure you check it out. It's very important that you realize that artificial intelligence is in beta. Literally, it's been in beta since the 1960s, and it's still in beta, and it will continue to be in beta for many decades to come. I know it sounds like a controversial thing to say, but I am being honest with you, and this is the reality. And I'm not saying this as somebody from a company that is somewhat anti-AI or anything like that. Quite the opposite. We're biggest proponents of artificial intelligence. Yes, we are specialized in augmented intelligence, which is a little bit different. And we will be publishing a video, by the way, that discusses the key differences between augmented intelligence and artificial intelligence. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when we publish this video. But going back to artificial intelligence, as a business or team, if you want to start applying artificial intelligence within your project or business, there are three things that you absolutely need to think about before you go anywhere near artificial intelligence. Number one, AI is a long-term strategy, not a short-term solution. And this is really, I think, probably the most important element that people don't understand about AI. Because usually, and we've seen this from our own experience, is that some companies or indeed teams, they think that they have this problem within their project that they can't solve, and then there will be some kind of AI solution that can just come in and solve it. That rarely happens. Actually, I would say that never happens, okay? Because the reality is, the way AI works is that you've got to have the right data to make it work, okay? But then the question is, well, where'd you get this data from? Do you even have this data? That's why the way we tend to advise our customers very specifically that the first thing they've got to do is to have a clear data strategy. In fact, we go as far as saying that the last thing you need to think about is AI. And the key reason for this is your data is effectively the blueprint of your company, okay? And when you have our data scientists, for example, look at your data and we analyze in detail every single element of your data, where it's coming from, what does it mean, is it to do with your sales or marketing, supply chains, manufacturing, whatever. And ultimately, we use this as a blueprint to identify certain loopholes within your business. And I would say something like maybe 80 to 85% of the projects that we worked with, we tend to identify problems that the companies did not even realize they had. And even in some cases, when we solve these problems, it actually solves the main problem that they thought AI would solve. In other words, we don't even use AI at all. We use data strategy and various different elements of project management in relation to whatever business that they're in. And we identify problems and try to reverse engineer the problem, trying to figure out what is the cause of this problem? Where did it come from? What's the data? Do you even have data? Do you perhaps need synthetic data? So really, the first step before any AI strategy or any AI commitment, you need to understand first what it is that you're trying to solve in more detail, in a much more nuanced way. And I'm afraid to say it is a really complicated project. This is probably the hardest part of any kind of AI strategy. And talking of complicated projects, I want to introduce you to our first sponsor. Let me introduce you to ClickUp. ClickUp is a phenomenal productivity tool that I've discovered a few years ago when they were just a pre-Series A startup. And what caught my attention is their motto, which is one app to replace them all. And I can absolutely relate to that, because if you're anything like me, very busy individual running a very complicated business like Nebulae, running complicated projects with massive corporations, not to mention you've got your own research and development work as a deep tech company, we were in a situation where we had to use different productivity apps for different projects. It was a complete nightmare. And that's when ClickUp came in to save the day. Because the way ClickUp works, it literally has all of the features of all of your favorite productivity apps put in one place. One of my favorite features, in fact, is called Spaces. Spaces literally allow you to create your personalized, customizable productivity tool per space. So if you've got a really complicated project that is to do with research and development that needs storyboards combined with Google Docs, you can have that. You can have another space with Kanban, you can have that. You can literally build whatever project management tool that suits the needs of that individual project. This is exactly what we're looking for. And you don't even have to figure this out on your own, because they have a really comprehensive library of templates that covers all scenarios that you could possibly think of. Like in our case, for example, we wanted to figure out what would be the best scenario for a YouTube channel. And they just had a few templates there, and in a few clicks, we had it up and running. Nice and simple. It saved us countless amount of hours every week. I've lost the count, I don't know, but I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. I think it's one of those essential business tools that businesses of all sizes must have. And guys, we would not recommend any product that we did not pay for ourselves or try it for at least a few years on this channel. So ClickUp is one of those products that I would absolutely recommend. And if you want to have a free account, you can use the special link that you see at the bottom here or in the description below, and you can just have a go at it for as long as you like. But you can also have a 20% discount on all of their paid plans for a year if you use Nebulae20 at checkout. It's fantastic. Really, guys, check it out. And I really want to thank ClickUp for all of the hard work of the years and for sponsoring this video. The second point you need to be aware of is that AI is more of a long-term research and development opportunity rather than a product development opportunity. And the key differences between these two is that unlike product development, where you basically aim to develop an app or a website or any kind of product, AI is research and development opportunity. In other words, let's say you manage to make the AI solution work. But what happens after that? Who maintains it? How do you continue the machine learning aspect of it? How do you look at the psychographic aspect of it, which is something that we tend to focus on quite a lot, and we talked about psychographics in this video if you want to find out a bit more. So in other words, what are the ethical issues that your AI solution may have an impact upon when it comes to dealing with customers, employees, or indeed any human being in relation to your business? So it's not just like releasing a product, which yes, in product release, you have to have sort of product maintenance, support, etc. But with AI, you need way more than that. You have to actually bring in a panel of researchers, whether internal researchers or external researchers, in something that we're actually offering at Nebulae called Client Lab, where we effectively build a panel of experts within Nebulae and outside Nebulae around specific projects, because it is unpredictable. Like I said earlier, AI is quite experimental. So it's really important that you kind of look at it as a research and development opportunity, which actually has its advantages, because depending on which country that you live in, you may be able to access certain funding from governments or from investors, for example. So it is really a cool opportunity, and also allows you to learn a little bit more about what AI can and cannot do. And this brings me very nicely to the third point that you need to be aware of. Try to become aware of what AI can and cannot do, at least in the area of your business. So for example, if you're involved in marketing or biotech or whatever, you need to see what AI projects, if any, that have been applied in an area that you want to apply your AI strategy, okay? Because it's really important that you get this right well in advance, because I'm afraid this is where the scam aspect of AI tends to take place. When you see quite a few companies that are promising you the impossible, frankly, or spurious individuals or developers trying to tell you that suddenly they became AI experts, even though you've never heard of them less than 5 years ago. So it's really important that you try to do your homework in advance. And in fact, this is what we try to do with this channel, is try to help you understand some of the key elements of artificial intelligence. Of course, we can't cover every single field. We'll do our best, but you definitely can get in touch with us and we will help you and give you advice about if you can apply any AI within your field, or even if you need AI. This is really key importance, because if if you can find out in advance that you don't actually need artificial intelligence, that potentially you might find a different solution that is more suitable. You see, AI is just one tool. Think of it as just one tool amongst many other technological tools that could solve your problem. Yes, it's the tool that has the biggest hype. Yes, it's the tool that ultimately is more intelligent, but that does not mean that it's the only tool available to you, okay? That is really important. And in fact, most of the projects that we work with, like I just suggested, we don't just focus on AI, we look at a solution. So a company comes to us and say, hey guys, can you help us solve a problem? Okay, let's analyze the problem. We'll look at all of the different elements. And our thought process is very simple. How do we solve this problem? Whether it's with AI, without AI, it's not really the key priority. It's how do we solve the problem? And if AI is part of it, great. If not, well, also great, so long as we solve the problem. So I would strongly recommend that if you have any kind of issues within your business, you need to think in that way. Try to kind of ignore the hype. And yes, we are an AI company that telling you don't believe the AI hype, okay? Because I'm afraid to say this is where you find a lot of bullshit, basically, okay? And we try to help you navigate through that and avoid to be bitten by these spurious promises, because ultimately AI is a very expensive endeavor. It's a long-term endeavor, as I've just discussed. So make sure that you do your homework. Get in touch with us using the website address below if you need help. But of course, we're here to help you. We're here to advise. We're going to be publishing more content as we grow the channel. So please feel free to share, subscribe, help us grow this channel. Send us questions. Comment below with whatever comments that you may have or whatever questions that you may have. And we try and do our best to provide this information for you. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.